Hey everyone, I want to welcome you to this tutorial of how to use your website, and today we're using Faith Harbor United Methodist Church's site. Apologize for the delay in this second video. We did have lightning strike and kind of lost our first video, so this is the re-recording. I'm going to go ahead and dive right in and show you guys how to make updates and changes on the site, and I think you're going to be really happy once you dive in at how easy it is and how simple it is. We'll go ahead and dive right in. And what you're going to do, you can see this is our Faith Harbor website, but you're going to go to faithharborumc.org/login. And once you do that, you're going to come to a screen that looks just like this, asking for your email and password. Now, in the email that I have sent with the link to this video, that will have your password in there. But for now, we're going to use secretary@faithharborumc.org, and then you'll enter in the password that you received in the email. All right. So once the screen loads for you, it'll look exactly like this one. This isn't nearly as in-depth as Google Analytics, but this does give you a little bit of an insight of how many people are going to your website on a daily and a monthly basis. However, if you want something more in-depth, we can add Google Analytics to that, which we can discuss later. For now, if you want to change the password or the email for this account, you would just simply click on an account tab, and you can see that you can change those items here. Also, I think you're going to be fine with this tutorial. I think it's really going to tell you everything that you need to know. But if there ever comes a time that you have a question, you can feel free to always email us at support@loggerheaddesigns.net or call our office at any time. Okay, so if we go back to the tab that says My Site, you will see above all the statistics, there's a bar that says Faith Harbor UMC and an orange button that says Edit Site. So once we click on there, you'll see that it's going to actually load the Faith Harbor website, and this is actually your back office and how you're going to make all the changes and the updates to the site. The great thing is, what you see is what you get. So as you make changes to this site, it's going to automatically reformat the site per every change that we do to it. The other thing is you actually get to visually see your website as you make the changes, where if it's compared to WordPress or some of the other programs, you have to make your changes and then go to the next page and hope that everything works well. Here, as you make the changes, you'll be able to see exactly how your website's going to look before you publish it. Now, the great thing about this as well, you could work on this all weekend long, and let's say your power goes out while you're in the middle of working on one of your pages. No big deal. This program will automatically save every change that you've made to the site, and nobody in the public will see those changes until you hit this orange Publish button. But we'll go over that here in just a moment. So we'll go ahead and look at the site as it is. We're going to go over all of these items over here on the left-hand side. But for now, you'll notice that as you scroll over your slider image on the home page, there's a little Edit Slideshow button that pops up. All you have to do is click on that button, and you can see that these are just basically a slideshow of images. Now, I've formatted some of these images so they'd be the correct size. However, there are some of them that when you click on it, you can hit Edit Slide and you can readjust. So if you want to upload a new picture, all you have to do is go over to Add Slide. You click on that button, and much like adding an attachment to an email or using Facebook, upload photos from your computer. Click on there, and then it's going to pull up your screen, and you could easily just select a photograph, hit Open, and it's going to add it into the queue there. And you can see if I wanted to change how the picture is going to be sized on here, I could simply click on Edit Image, and then I can click and drag so it's more centered. You can also add effects and crop images, do things like that. And you can play around with the effects. You can turn the opacities down. but I doubt that that's really going to be anything that you're going to mess with. If I'm finished, I would just hit OK. We would save that slide, and it'll take it just one moment, and you will see that now, oops, clicked out of it. Now that slide is actually in the slideshow. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete it, since obviously it's not one that we want to keep in there. But you can see that there's also some advanced settings. So if you go under Options, you can actually change the transitions to be a slide, a fade, mosaic, slice, fold. You can really go in depth with this, and you can change the arrows and the dot positioning, and you can even delay the slides as many seconds as you want in between each one. Just going to hit cancel on there and save to this page only. Okay, so now that we've kind of gone over this particular slideshow, we'll go over a little bit more of the headings and your options once we go under pages, but we'll get to that in just a moment. We're just going to pick one of the pages, and we'll kind of go through and show you how all these different elements work. So if we go under, say, our location, we can click on that page, and you'll notice that as I scroll my mouse over all these different elements, you notice there's a blue square that appears all the way around this text box, all around this image, and all around that map. The reason that it's doing this is actually because, much like if you're building a puzzle or if you were using building blocks, you are pulling elements over here from the left-hand side and dragging them into your page. So let's say that we have our page here and we want to make some additions to it and changes. Okay? So we'll go ahead and go over some of the items over on the left-hand side, and then I'll show you how you can edit existing blocks as well. Over here on the left-hand side, the very first one we have is called Title. So if we use our left-click button, click on it, and drag it, you notice that there's a blue line appearing, and no matter where I drag it, now you see the blue lines on the left-hand side of this map. It's on the right-hand side of the map, underneath. Basically, that is indicating that as soon as I let go of my left mouse, it's going to drop that element wherever I put it. So let's say I wanted to have a text field over here on the right-hand side of the map. I would just release that. It's going to automatically format the map to fit into this space, and now we have a title block. So I could type in whatever I wanted to. We'll say directions. And when I'm finished, well, before I say that, you notice that over this field, all of your available options pop up. You have bold, italicize, underline. You can increase and decrease the font size. You can also change it to literally any color under the rainbow just by moving these sliders around. You can also create a link, which we'll go over here in just a little bit. And these links will allow you to make a word, either a phone number link, so if somebody's using it mobily, or if you want it to go somewhere within the website. But we'll go over that here in just a moment as well. So we're going to click outside that box. And our next field is called Text. Now I'm actually going to go ahead and click and drag this text field down to the bottom. And let's say that if I had copied some information, we've already done a write-up in Word or in Notebook, whatever the case is, you could easily just copy, and then when you click in this field, you can paste it right in. And you can see I just pasted a bunch of gibberish text. And let's say if I wanted to add a photo, if we're doing an article, and I want to add a photo in the middle of this, your next element that's up here on the left is called Image. So if we left click on it, and again when I drag it, you can see that a blue line appears wherever I put it, and that means it's going to put it either next to the text field, or in this case you can see a blue square has appeared, which means that it'll dump that image directly in your text box. So we're going to dump that in there, and we'll click on Upload Image, Upload from the computer, and we'll just select a logo here that I have. And you can see once it uploads it, it actually formats the text all around that picture. And you can easily resize the image just by clicking and dragging these little blue marks that are on the side. and it'll automatically format the text all around it. Okay, so the next one that we'll go over is gallery. When you click and drag a gallery down, you can let go of it, dump it right in, and much like when you're uploading a single image, you click on Upload Images, upload gallery photos from your computer, and then we can select multiple images. So I'll select these 5. I'm going to hit Open, and you can see it automatically will start uploading all those images to the page. The great thing is this is a little different than your traditional website where it used to be that you would have to upload to a media folder and then link it. You no longer have to do that. You can just upload the images directly on whatever page you want them to be on. Now, much like the text field, whenever you click on it and all the other options pop up, same thing happens with even the gallery. When you click on the gallery, you can add additional images. You can shrink your columns so you can have 2, 3, let's say we want 5 all the way across. You can also go into the advanced settings. You can do captions, and in the advanced settings you can change the image ratio, and you guys can play around with this. Once you start playing with all the different elements, you'll learn very quickly all the different options that you have. You can see you can also add borders to the images as well. Okay, and before we go over some of the other elements, I'll show you something as simple. Let's say if we wanted to move this and have it to the right of this text field. All you'd have to do is go to where the little 4 arrow cross comes up, click on it, drag it up to the right and let go of it, and you can see that it'll automatically format again to how you've set it up. If you want to move this bar in the center, you'll roll your mouse over it and it'll highlight blue, and then I suggest that you hold down the Shift key and click on it, and that way when you drag it from left to right, it'll automatically format everything evenly. Okay? And then you release both when you're finished. So let's say, okay, we're ready to get rid of these elements because we don't need them. All we have to do is go highlight over the little red X that says delete, click delete. Yes, I'm sure I want to delete it. We'll do the same thing with all these other elements that we've pulled in. And the same with directions. Okay, so like with this map field, which is over on the left hand side, all we had to do was click on map, drag it over, and it'll automatically have San Francisco in there. All you have to do is click on it and you would type in the address that you want it to go to, and it'll automatically set it up for an overview of whatever address you put it in. And again, you notice that when I clicked on it, you had multiple options. You could go in and really add more advancements. You can do latitude, longitude if you needed to. You can zoom in or zoom out. You can also change the height and the width of it. Okay, so we're going to move on. We're going to cover a couple other little things. You'll notice on each of the pages there's this graphic banner, and this is actually just an image. All we've done is just simply clicked on the image category, drug it over, dropped it, and a graphic that was created in Photoshop that we have a particular size on, we created the graphic, uploaded it the same as you would do an image. So I want to go ahead and cover links. Since we have links over here on the right hand side that we've put in, this is just simply a sidebar, which is one of the options under pages, which we'll go over shortly. The text field here is just a normal text that you would click and drag over from the left. Okay, but what we did was when we typed in all of these different titles, let's say if I wanted to add another one, and I'd say location, which we'll delete this in a moment. All I had to do was just highlight that text, click on the link button, and you could either go to an outside website. So if this was going to be a link that would take you to the United Methodist Men organization or something like that, you just click on it and type in your URL. But since that's not what we're doing, we're actually going to go back to a standard page. When you click on standard page, your list of every single page that's in the website appears. So if we want that to be a quick link to location, which this is called our location, you would just select it and you would say open in a new window. No, we don't need that to happen. We can stay on the website. And when you're finished, just click outside the box. And now that is a clickable link that will take you to our location. We're going to go ahead and delete that one since we don't need it. Alright, we're going to go over a couple more things within the site just to give you an idea of how to use these elements. We're going to go back to the home page for a second. And on your home page, we actually have a few fields. We have just simply a text field. We actually have a divider, which is this item here. Just click and drag a divider over and it can go either under one image or all the way across. And you can see automatically a divider pops up. And again, just like all the other elements, there's more advanced options once you click on it. We'll delete that one. And you can see there's a spacer underneath, and literally it's just what its name entails. It's a space bar. So when you click and drag a spacer over, you can actually adjust the space if you want a little bit more space in between certain elements. Now this video that's over here on the right hand side, this video is actually a video that was uploaded to Vimeo. So all we had to do was we just selected an embed code, which this is not something you're really going to have to worry too much about, but I still want to show you how it works. You would click on embed, drag it over, and we'll dump it right underneath this particular one that's there. And then the embed code that I would get, which you can see, this is what the embed code looks like. This is just a simple iframe embed code. I copied it from Vimeo, the Vimeo player itself, dumped it right into the box, and then it automatically appears on the website. Now the other element, if you guys ever do a YouTube video, it's very simple to add YouTube videos. All you have to do is select the YouTube link or the box. We'll dump it in the bottom of the page just to show you how it works. And all we have to do is actually copy a URL from a video. So let's say we're going to go to youtube.com. And let's say, much like this tutorial video, we'll look up Loggerhead Designs. And we have some other tutorial videos that are on here. And you will see if we'll just take one of these other tutorial videos here. And we actually have a URL. All you'd have to do is copy the URL, go back to your website, click on the YouTube box, and dump that URL right in there, and it'll automatically format the YouTube video to fit within that space. So if we want it to be a little bit smaller, I'll put it right underneath this other one. You can see it'll reformat itself automatically. Now you can play around with some of these other elements. Most of them are pretty self-explanatory. We are going to go ahead and we'll go to one more page just to show you some of the elements and how they're working. If we actually go under Worship, there's a section called Sermon Recordings. So under this page, under our sermon recordings, you can see that what we've done is we've actually drug the element called a button. And this one is a quick link that says listen on SoundCloud. There's a couple ways that you can upload your sermon recordings. This is basically just a button element, which is this one that's been clicked and dragged over. It's been changed to say listen on SoundCloud in the text area. And then it's just a link to your SoundCloud, which has all of your recordings under it. And we do have it set up so it'll open in a new window and take you away from the site. The other thing you can do, if you have and this works as well, not only with the recordings, but if you have different documents that you want people to be able to upload or download, you can actually come over here to the element that says File, and then there's one called Document. Document is going to allow you to view the document on the website. File will allow people to download it. So if we clicked on File, and let's say we were putting a list of all of our different sermons, we could actually click on here to upload the file. We would select, and this time we're just going to grab a receipt. But you could actually upload a recording if you had an MP3 or whatever the case was. It doesn't really matter, but that will allow someone to be able to download the file. If we wanted to change the name of it so it doesn't have all that gibberish, you would just click on it and change the name simply there. Okay. All right, and we're going to go to one more section as well, and we're going to go over the newsletter form. Now you can see that what we've done is when you go under Get Involved, there's actually a big form here. And all this form is actually the newsletter form. What we've done is we've clicked on a newsletter form, and I'm going to scroll up here and grab another one. We'll put it on top. But under the newsletter, it just generically says email and doesn't really have a lot of information on it. But what we've done is once you click on that, you'll notice that all of your options over here on the left-hand side actually change. You now have the option to pull over a phone number, an address field. You can make check boxes and drop downs. You can allow file uploads, so if you're allowing people to upload documents to you, they can do it that way, even images. And you can kind of play around with all the other options here, but even a large text box. So if you wanted to say questions, comments, which this one says comment, it would allow a bigger section for people to type in. Now you can notice that there's a little red asterisk next to each option. That makes it a requirement for somebody to send it to you. If we wanted to make that a non-requirement, you just click on it. This one's called a phone number, but you could change the name of it. You can add instructions that will actually pop up as people scroll over it. But for this one, we're going to say it's not required. We'll click outside of that element, and now you can see the little red asterisk has disappeared. So if somebody did not want to put their phone number to you, they wouldn't have to. Now in this term, or at least in this form, you want to go under Form Options, and you would change the area that you want this form to be sent to. So if you're setting up a form specifically for a VBS sign-up sheet, then you could actually have it sent to the specific email address for whoever's in charge of VBS. Okay? And then we would just hit Save. And since we don't want this element, we're going to delete it. Now for the existing form that's here for getting involved, if you ever want to change any of the options, all you have to do is click inside of it, and you can go to the individual box, let's say Greeter, and then all you have to do is go to Option Items, and when you click on it, now you can see I've got 3 that are in here. One says Optional, please choose a time you're available. You could select 8 a.m., 9:20 a.m., or if you want to add another option, you just simply click on Add Option, and you would type in what that new option is going to be. Okay? And that's all there is to that. Now your calendar currently is a calendar that the secretary is taking care of. This again is an area where, since your latest newsletter would be a PDF, all you'd have to do is click on this, and you could upload a brand new file to replace it. But again, this is the file section that we went over earlier. Now this is just a graphic. All it is a photo, and it's a link. So this link basically opens up the mychurchevents.com calendar that the secretary already has set up and that she manages. But if at any time you wanted to add a Google Calendar, something like that, you could simply just use an embed code or a link to the new calendar that way. Okay, so as you go under each of these different sections, you can play around with them and see how we've set them up, and you'll be able to add photos. You can see under Our Church, again, this is just a gallery. Click on the gallery and you can make your changes. This is an image. This is just a text field. So you'll easily be able to go through and make all your updates to it. The only other thing that we really need to go over before we cover pages is a blog. Now we do have the pastor's blog set up. One is set up for Pastor Duke and one is set up for Pastor Neil. And this is a blog page. When I select one of them, you can see it says Welcome to the new blog. If I wanted to add a new blog, if I'm adding one on here, all I'd have to do is go down to where it says New Post. I'd add a new post, change my title to whatever it wants to be, and again, you have a blank area here that you can click and drag all your elements, your text field, your photos, everything the same way you would a normal page. And then when you're finished, once we're done with that, we would say post. We could either do the drop down and discard the draft. We could save it as a draft, or in this case, we're ready to post it. So we would just hit post, and it gives you the URL of that specific post. So if we want to, post that into Facebook so that it's a clickable link that people can go to, you'd be able to do that. Since we obviously don't want to keep this one, all we have to do is go to that blog page, click on it, and we're going to go up and we could either update it with new information, or in this case, we're going to select the drop down and delete the post. And yes, we're sure we want to delete that post. You can also see that when we do click on these blogs, the other thing that pops up besides all these options on the left is your post options. So when you click on there, you can see that you can leave comments and allow people to have comments. You can add specific categories, and you can either get more advanced and add SEO if you're familiar with that. Okay, so we're just going to close this blog. The very last thing that we really need to cover in terms of how to use the site is going to be how to add pages. This is going to be really important, so if you add a ministry or you just want to add a contact form page for VBS, you'll be able to do all that. So all you're going to do is you're going to go to this new tab that's up here on the top called Pages. You'll select Pages, and you can see that all of the pages that are under the website are all listed over here on the left-hand side. You can tell that obviously all of our main menu pages all are on the far left-hand side. Any sub-pages from the drop-downs, like our location, it pops over to the right. And then our subcategories of our pastors, which is obviously the blog pages, their subcategory even further to the right. And you can, if you want to rearrange any of these, you can just click on them and you can drag them, and it'll actually reformat and place those pages wherever you put them in. Okay, let's say if we wanted to add a new page, we have it, let's say it's a new form for VBS or just a new page in general. All we'd have to do is click on the plus sign, and you could do a blog page, an external link, which would take you outside of the website, or in this case, we're going to do a standard page, and let's just call it VBS sign up. All right, and what you want to do is from the header type, you would select one of your headers. You do have the option to have a tall header on the page, which is what the home page is. And I just threw in a generic image in there that will pop up. You also have a short header, or you could have no header, which is what we've done on most of the pages, and then we just click and drag an image in that's the new header image up there. Once we're done, we'd hit save, and you can see it automatically puts it on the bottom of the list and actually puts it as one of the main categories. But if I wanted to click and drag it and put it under children's ministry, I would just select it, pull it over, let go, and you can see it's taken it off of the main home bar and it's put it underneath the children's ministry, VBS sign up. Okay, well hopefully that probably will take care of everything for you. Now that I don't want that page, I'm just going to delete it after I click on it. But if you guys have any problems or run into any issues or have any questions, you can obviously contact us on the telephone number and the email address that's on that main page. The only other thing that you really need to remember when you're finished is after you've made all the changes and all the updates that you're ready to do, all you have to do is hit that orange publish button, and it'll automatically upload all of the changes that you've done. And now you can see when we click on this link, pulls open the website, and you'd be able to view all of the updates and stuff that you did to the site. The only other suggestion that I do recommend that I should have said earlier is you want to make sure that you use Google Chrome as your main viewing for the internet. Just when you're making updates and changes to the site, it just seems to work better than any of the other programs. Works better than Explorer or Safari. And other than that, you just if you have any questions or anything, feel free to contact us. You can contact us at support@loggerheaddesigns.net, or you can call us at 910-541-0143. Thanks, guys. Hope this helped.